Absolutely. Well, let's keep this conversation going now with Kathryn Rooney Vera. She, of course, is chief strategist over at StoneX Group. And Kathryn, it's great to have you with us, of course, on the final trading day of October, because as I outlined in that wall walk, of course, there has been a lot that's happened this month. But let's start, of course, with what is most recent, and that is big tech earnings. We ran through a lot of them so far this week. And I'm curious, from what you saw, from the numbers and the commentary that you heard from these companies, do you think that's enough to keep the momentum going?
Well, look, I think that this is a sustainable trend going forward, but we have to discern between the enablers and the users and those that are just part of this arms race of AI and spend now, profits later. I think this is something that we want to be invested in, and that's what we're telling our clients. Valuations are elevated, but they're sustainable if we get EPS growth holding and rates remain stable. So I do think we want to be in the trade with the builders behind AI, semiconductors, cloud networking, power infrastructure. But we want to favor those that are cash generators, not the ones that are cash flow negative or investing without utility of AI. So that's where we're looking for value.
That's where you're looking for value. I mean, if you broaden your aperture a little bit and you take a look outside of the tech stack, talk us through the opportunities there. I mean, is there anything that doesn't touch AI that you feel really strong conviction on?
Well, having background in emerging markets, I love some of the emerging names. One of my biggest picks, and you can also always get alpha outside of the United States, but one of my best picks this year has been Argentina. It's been phenomenal. It's been, a triple digit, almost in some instances, return. So I think that you can find some value elsewhere, especially when you have the VIX so low and valuations so extended. Yes, we can get a melt up, and I think that's generally consensus that earnings are doing well and the S&P is going to continue to move higher. But there's other places that we can add exposure. I named one, Katie, but also U.S. cyclicals in construction, in electrical equipment, in industrial automation. All of these areas, I think, and if you consider energy and the big wall that we're about to hit with regard to electricity and energy capacity with this AI boom, I think those are areas here in the United States that we can look at, because electricity demand is absolutely surging and it will continue to, given this AI boom.
Kathryn, I hear you pointing out the fact that we have AI kind of bleeding into these other sectors and hard to look at anything exclusive of the growth that we're seeing in AI. Where are we in the AI story? As you kind of find your way through this, as we all are, it's evolved very quickly. Your sense of where we are in light of the earnings that we got this week?
Well, Microsoft spent $35 billion last quarter. Alphabet is planning $90 billion next year. I think we're in the spend mode. Meta raised $72 billion. Amazon's investing in its web services like crazy. There are going to be, David, winners and losers here. And I think those companies that are investing not only in, the infrastructure, but those that are actually deploying AI, and that's a small fraction of corporate America, those that are deploying AI, I think are going to, where we see the productivity, because at the end of the day, this investment has to yield results, because right now we're kind of in spend mode, as I said before, profits later, but we have to at some point see the money here, and I think that's where the next leg is going to manifest itself.
I was thinking of Michael Hartnett, who Katie quoted just a moment ago, and again he kind of came up with this notion of us having a Magnificent Seven, and over these last many months has really sounded the alarm about a narrowing market, a lack of breadth in the market, and I'm curious if that's something that you likewise are concerned about, and what the indications are that you're looking for that we see some broadening out here in the broader market.
Well, it's pretty remarkable, David, if you look at the equally weighted S&P, how poorly it's done. So certainly I think the breadth shows that we're vulnerable here. I think one of the things that is not talked about that much is that if we continue to see, or if we start to see actually, a move higher of long rates, that's not going to be a positive for rate-sensitive sectors such as tech. If we get an uptick in inflation expectations, that's not good either. So I do think there are some risks on the horizon. And unless and until we do actually see this broadening out that we've all been waiting for some extended period of time, then I think we do remain in a very pernicious, sort of vulnerable state. And that's why, David, I've been telling my investors, when you see the VIX as low as it has been and complacency at such high levels, I would recommend buying protective puts on the tech offering. Don't liquidate your position and realize full gains, but do protect it. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, the VIX right now trading with a 17 handle. We're talking talking about Michael Hartnett, and Kathryn, you said that, you're not afraid to go outside the United States right now. You like Argentina in particular. But going back to Michael Hartnett's most recent note, calling out gold and Chinese equities is maybe a bit of a hedge here when it comes to the AI boom. I wonder how you feel about the China stock market right now, which has sharply outperformed the S&P 500 so far this year.
Yes, that was another one of our top picks coming into this year. We subsequently exited the position, but it has been something that I think you could tactically play. So yes, we are looking at opportunities in China. We are more looking at opportunities in Latin America because it is a primary beneficiary of the trade war and any escalation therein. We can talk about how the tariffs haven't had much impact as yet, but I think that's still yet to be seen. And one of the primary beneficiaries of any type of trade war is Latin America, precisely Brazil and Argentina actually, because they gain market share at the expense of China. So yeah, there are tactical opportunities, but I like the structural trades, and those are where my clients are most focused on the longer term over the next year, 3 years.
All right, Kathryn, great to get some time with you on this Friday. That is Kathryn Rooney Vera. She is Chief Market Strategist and Chief Economist over at the StoneX Group, helping us kick off the show on a very spooky Halloween.